Well, the Prime Minister there answering questions from the audience at the CBI after her first speech there. Well, a lot's changed since I talked to him last. Let's go to the economist, Yanis Varoufakis, the former Greek finance minister. He joins us now live via Skype from Athens, where you were listening very patiently to Mrs May there, Mr Varoufakis. What do you make of where Britain is now post-Brexit?
I must say I was particularly encouraged by the Prime Minister's manifesto for an entrepreneurial state investing in and promoting patient capital. I'm also encouraged, and I think most British people should be, that there is an emergent bipartisanship in the sense that this has been John McDonnell's line for a number of months now. But let me also share with you my worries and to connect it with Brexit. The British government is going to have a difficulty funding these very good projects in view of its obligations to companies like Nissan, and not just Nissan, what I call a project of corporate welfare to ameliorate for the impact of exiting the customs union and the single market.
And you think it will come to that, exiting the customs union, what we've been calling hard Brexit here?
Oh, who knows? The process is so messy. And my greatest fear is that because there is absolutely no rational path leading to a negotiated agreement in the end, we have to rely on good fortune. And being Greek and having been a former finance minister of Greece, I don't believe that we should rely on good fortune.
Now, as I remember before Brexit, you were saying that you thought Britain ought to remain, largely because of the upheaval. You didn't necessarily think that the whole idea of the European Union was a particularly good idea. Now Britain has gone. Do you see this opportunity, which Mrs May was talking about, of Britain reforming itself as a great independent trading nation?
Best of luck in trying this. There's no doubt that it's a worthy aspiration. But let's face it, Theresa May is going to activate, one way or the other, Article 50. She's going to have 2 years during which to negotiate a bespoke agreement with the European Union. Those 2 years are not enough. And especially given the timetable of elections coming up in Europe. My considered opinion is that a rational, small c conservative Tory government should be activating, on the one hand, Article 50. This is what the verdict of the British people instructs them to do. But at the same time, very same time, in March of 2017, request that this 2-year period is followed by a period of a Norway-like arrangement with the European Union, minimalist change when it comes to customs, single market, the passporting of financial services, and creating continuity while respecting the Brexit verdict of the 23rd of June, so that the next British Parliament, which will have a mandate from the people of Britain to negotiate and to debate amongst itself, what kind of Brexit, what kind of long-term arrangements the British people want to have to run their relationship with the European Union, to establish that. I think that Britain needs more time than those 2 years, and the Norway-like agreement would provide the space and the calm which is necessary for business, for politicians, for diplomats, and for citizens to smoothen the way towards a potentially successful Brexit.
And what about the European Union itself and Greece in particular? Emerging theories saying that perhaps these big international structures don't work anymore, supranational structures, that we are returning towards nationalism, and that perhaps Greece would be better sorting out its own problems rather than relying on the hard line from the European Central Bank.
Nobody needs to be lectured regarding the incongruities, inept authoritarianism, and general disadvantages of the European Union and the Eurozone. But, having said that, this is a very good argument for not having joined. Greece should never have joined, especially the Eurozone. But it is not a good argument for disintegrating the European Union or getting out of the Eurozone. It's one thing to say we shouldn't have come in. It's quite another to say we should get out. What we should certainly do, and this is what I tried to do in the few months I was in the ministry, is to say no to more loans that are predicated upon policies which cannot work. The European Union is a battlefield, and we need to fight to prevent its disintegration, whatever we may think about it, because its disintegration is not going to bring good developments for any European peoples.
But with people like Donald Trump emerging on the scene, the clear shift to the right in French politics, in the end, aren't we seeing a return of nationalism?
Oh, absolutely. We have what I call a nationalist international developing throughout Europe and in the United States. But look, this is the repercussion of the inept handling of the 2008 financial disaster. After 2008, we had a very brief period of rationality when the G20, the central banks got together and reflated the financial sector. And they did this well in the sense of efficiency, but not in the sense of social justice. But nevertheless, they did it. But immediately after that, when they should have followed it with something like a global New Deal, a fiscal policy that was up to the task of pushing investment in the real economy up to real levels, not just investment in paper assets, that never happened. And the result is, just like after 1929, a great recession. It did not allow it to become a Great Depression because of the action of the central banks, but it led to a great deflation. We have serious deflationary forces in America, in China, throughout Europe. Trillions and trillions of government debt are now in negative interest rate territory, and great deflations breed nationalism, just like in the 1930s.
That is not a very exciting prospect. It's an alarming one. Thank you very much indeed, Yanis Varoufakis, for joining us from Athens. We'll speak again, I'm sure.